Hey, everybody, hope you all are doing well, and welcome back to Michael's Matters. Now, I, of course, am Michael, and today we are doing our monthly January COLA update, where we're going to talk about the newest inflation numbers, the effects it's having on folks who are on programs through Social Security, so programs like Social Security Retirement, Social Security Disability SSDI, Supplemental Security Income SSI, as well as VA and Railroad Retirement Benefits, and we're going to see if the actual cost of living matches up with the COLAs the beneficiaries are starting to get just this month. Additionally, we have analysis out of the Senior Citizen League that says that looking back at the last 3 years, COLA increases have left American senior citizens and retirees coming up short by as much as an average of $1,054. Now, before we get to the video, if you like these videos, if you find them interesting, helpful, or at least useful, please don't forget to like and subscribe. That way, you can get updates when our newest and most informative videos become available. All right, now, let's get down to the video. So first off today, I want to talk about a pretty shocking analysis that came out from the Senior Citizens League this week that shows that as a result of inflation over the last few years, 2020, 2021, and 2022, basically since the pandemic had started, Social Security benefits have fallen short of matching inflation and thereby Social Security beneficiaries' needs by as much as $1,054, not counting Medicare Part B deductions. This means that over the last 3 years, not including the 2023 8.7% COLA increase in benefits and not including the cost of Medicare Part B, the COLA did not keep older Americans' benefits on par with the necessary level of income to offset the toll that inflation is taking, and it fell short by a shameful amount. So in the findings by the Senior Citizen League, in 2020, they found that the 1.6% COLA increase was only able to have benefits keep pace with inflation after the month of March. So basically, once everything in the economy had shut down and prices for things like gas had dropped like rocks because nobody was driving. By the end of the year, the COLA did actually end up putting $53 worth of average benefits into the pockets of American seniors, so up and over inflation. But for those who were on Medicare, Part B premiums ended up taking those additional $53. Now in 2021, they found that the 1.3% increase in the COLA gave seniors absolutely no wiggle room against inflation. In fact, fell behind inflation by an average of 261% per month. Meaning benefits fell behind by $612 for that year, or $51 per month. Then lastly, for 2022, the Senior Citizen League analysis showed that the 5.9% COLA increase fell short month to month by 46%, which comes out to a total of $495 a year, or $41.25 a month. Again, excluding the cost of Medicare Part B, which last year jumped one of the highest jumps it's had in the last 20 years to $170.10 a month, or $2,041.20 a year. So when putting the numbers together, that $53.20 that they gained in 2020, minus the $612 in 2021, and minus the $495 in 2022, the full amount of money that Social Security benefits fell short against inflation comes out to that total of $1,054. Now, we will see that, yes, it is good that there is a massive COLA for this year in 2023, and that's going to help some seniors catch up, but it won't likely make up that full difference that they need percentage-wise for all that money that they lost in 2020, 2021, and 2022 to help pay for their cost of daily living. Additionally, this week, and related, we got news and numbers out of the BLS, or the Bureau of Labor Statistics, which is the government agency that, keeps track of things like this. It came out with a CPI, or Consumer Price Index, for December 2022, which is the most recent month that they have, that shows that CPI, or inflation, actually went down by 0.2% at 6.5% year over year. So that means that they're comparing it from December 2021 to December 2022. So this is actually pretty good news for older Americans and retirees and folks who are on Social Security because, inflation is one of the things that eats up the ability for folks on fixed income to pay their daily necessities. The prime number that the BLS uses is something called the Consumer Price Index for Urban Wage Workers, or the CPI-U, which is basically a price of various goods, a basket of goods, excluding some of the most volatile ones like, gasoline and those kinds of things, that they put together and they measure year over year. But when we look at the CPI-W, which is really more relevant to Social Security beneficiaries, we can see that the CPI-W came out to 6.3%, which is a 0.5% decrease in inflation rate from the previous month. Again, good news. The reason the CPI-W is more relevant to fixed income benefits like Social Security than the CPI-U is because it is the metric that is actually used to figure out what the yearly cost of living adjustment, or COLA, is for folks on Social Security. This year, for 2023, the COLA increase was set at 8.7%, which is one of the largest in the last 40 years, or basically in living history for that matter. This means that for the approximately 69 million Americans who are on one of these Social Security programs, they have started receiving an 8.7% increase just this month, that's January, but inflation, at least for December, was only at 6.3%. If these numbers are correct and to be believed, it means that the Social Security beneficiaries are actually getting a bit more purchasing power from their Social Security benefits than initially intended by the increase. Because keep in mind, the COLA is really just designed to keep your head above the water. It's supposed to help you to be able to afford your daily costs during retirement, but it had fallen short over the last couple of years that we just talked about. And now, even with the increase, it's not likely to make up that lost ground. It is even more dramatic now because although it was never supposed to pay for everything in a senior's daily life, there are growing numbers of seniors who are beginning to rely on the Social Security benefits for 90% or more of their monthly income. Now, in this situation, it means that the COLA increase for 2023 has beat the most current inflation measurement by 2.4% for December. So it means if you had an average Social Security check in 2022 of $1,551.66, it means that your COLA right now at 8.7% is actually going to be $37.24 higher, or $446.88 higher a year than it would have been if it was done right now at 6.3%. So definitely not nothing for sure, but it's not going to make up for that $1,054 that folks have fallen short for the last 3 years. Now, one last metric that I usually look at in comparison to the COLA, and maybe the best indicator of how much seniors' cost of daily living actually is called the CPI-E, which is the Consumer Price Index for the elderly, which is a measurement that more correctly looks at the cost that seniors have and weighs things like medications, doctor's visits, and transportation, and other things like that oftentimes have a larger percentage in a senior's budget than in the average urban workers. So here is the year over year for the CPI-E up to December 2022, and you can see that for the month of December, the cost for older Americans was up by 6.7%. And on average, for the year, up by 7.6%, which still looks okay. It's not as good as compared to CPI-W, but considering the COLA was 8.7%, it basically means that they're getting 1% over what the metric indicated that seniors' living costs actually went up to. So in dollars terms, that basically means they're getting $17.07 more in comparison to what the CPI-E said that the inflation rate is. So a bit less good, and in this case, shows that the users for the CPI-W damages seniors' budgets. And as a result, they get benefits that don't keep up with the actual cost of seniors, but keep up with the cost of urban wage workers, which they are not. Now, lastly, when we look at the national numbers for the CPI, it doesn't really give the full perspective on how the current inflation matches up with the majority of how seniors live. Because the reality is that inflation, well, it's local. And according to Consumer Affairs, around 25% of older Americans live in basically 3 states: California, Florida, and Texas. There's 5,486,000 in California, that makes up 10.8%. There's 4,205,000 in Florida, which makes up 8.3% of their population, and 3,462,000 in Texas, which makes up 6.8% of their population. Here in the Golden State, specifically in Los Angeles, the CPI-U actually had a much smaller increase than the national average at 4.9%, which is way lower than that 6.5%. So again, with the 8.7% COLA increase, it means that the California seniors actually ended up getting a 3.8% increase in their benefits over what inflation is, or $58.96. Again, that is based off the $1,551 average check. In Florida, the local state inflation rate for December, well, it's another story, because it actually jumped up to 9.9%, which means that the COLA actually begins to lose ground by 1.2%. And again, if we set it against that Social Security average check of $155.01 in 2022, it means that seniors in Florida were actually short by $18.62 on their Social Security checks. Now, lastly, if we look at Texas, the rate for Houston specifically, we saw it was low as 5.3%, which means that with the COLA for 2023, seniors are still over that rate by 3.4%, or $52.76. So overall, there's a couple things to consider here. First is that the COLA so far has not been the best way of increasing benefits, at least in the most recent years, for people on Social Security benefits, because it treats them the same as all other workers, and obviously they're not. They have different costs. I have a feeling as well that it has been kajiggered, I guess, in a way in recent times to try to hold back some of the necessary benefits from older Americans, especially in programs like Social Security, because already it's becoming so unsustainable that the increased costs that would accurately represent what it would cost to help them would be devastating to the program. But with an increasing number of seniors beginning to rely on it for an increasing amount of their monthly income, it is now more necessary than ever to update those numbers, to update those figures, and to update that CPI to make sure that our older friends, our older family members, and our older neighbors get the support that they need and that they deserve. All right, so that's it for Michael's Matters, and I really hope that you enjoyed this video, and if you did, you found it interesting, if you found it helpful, if you found it useful, please don't forget to like and subscribe. That way you can get updates when our newest and most informative videos become available. So for Michael's Matters, I'm Michael, hoping that you take care of yourself, take care of others, and have a happy, healthy